Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. In our last discourse, we completed Slok 19. Now we will move on to Slok 20. The verse 20, we may say so. We are talking about the distinction or discrimination between the body and Atman, between phenomenal world and God, between the body, mind, intellect as a phenomenal aspect of existence and a God who is beyond the phenomena, even though he is the creator of the phenomena. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् न अयं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्य शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो नान्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. This is one of the beautiful slokas that attracted me in my early days when I was meditating on these slokas. If we know the Sanskrit original and the meaning, it is so charming that even the pronunciations excite us towards its inner beauty and meaning and in the direction in which it is trying to lead us. It says that this Atman is never born, never dies, or it is not that once it has been, it will not be again, because it is something ever existence. It always exists. There is no question, therefore, of its birth, growth, decay, and death, past, present, and future, or that it is unaffected by the events. It is ajaha nityaha shashvataha puranaha. It is unborn, it is eternal, constant, it is ancient. Whatever words that we are familiar with, Lord is trying to say that it is beyond Kal. And Kal in Sanskrit or Sanatana Dharma also means death. So when we say somebody's Kal has come, his end has come, so Kal, Shabda or word is always related with his constant changing situation, and it is definitely related with the end of our assigned time of 100 years, if that is what we are going to live, and at the end of that time we are victim of the time if we think we are body. But if we have realized we are not the body, we are not the coat, or we are not the clothes, then what happens to clothes have very little to do with us if we don't identify ourselves with clothes that we are clothes. We are not. Similarly, we are not the body, we are not mind, we are not intellect. This is something we have put on our Atman, and what we put on can be also taken, removed, because we are capable to make mistakes and we are also capable to correct those mistakes. Yes, I see there is a question.
What is Kal and where does it come from? What are we talking about?
Kal is very, what is Kal, where it comes from, and what are we talking about? This Kal is, of course, a good question. Scientists have been working with Kal, the motion of the stars, the moon and the sun and the earth. Kal is a measure of this circling of the planets, and all that has come from the energy that came from God. So originally Kal is related, or the time is related with energy, and energy is related with God. God's first manifestation is energy, and from that energy he created these planets and the whole universe, which is then he put in rotation due to energy, and this rotation then causes day and night and years, and that is what we call Kal as a measure. And Kal, of course, is also a measure of our life itself, as we measure seconds and minutes. But it is essentially the root of Kal is energy, and the root of energy is God. So again, if we go to God, then we will have control over this energy and time and even death. That is why we call it deathlessness. So here then we say that He is unborn, eternal, ancient, beyond time, and does not die because the body dies. Someday the sun may die, the earth may die, even the galaxy may die or change. But this eternal that is within us is not going to die. It is like a curtain on which we throw lots of images of the movie. Sometimes we throw nice, colorful images, sometimes sorrowful, sometimes it's totally dark if it is night, and sometimes it is day. All these changes on the curtain does not go through any change. The images go through the change. Similarly, the Atman does not change, but our experience is that we feel hot and cold, as we have said, birth, growth, and decay, and all the ups and downs. These are like a reflection of ourself. Take an example of our image in the mirror. The entire thing we see in the mirror, we are totally covered by the mirror inside and out. We are totally inside that image. And yet we know that if we break the image, the image may look broken because of the breakage of the glass, but we are not broken. The image is broken. Similarly, the body is an image, the universe is an image. It may appear broken and it looks like broken, but the cause due to which we are seeing this reflection, the original person does not get affected by what happens to the mirror or what happens in the mirror or to the image. Like if we have a picture of ourselves and if somebody tears out that picture, that does not affect us. Of course, if we are attached to that picture and if it was a picture of our beloved girlfriend, we are so attached to it that if somebody did tear it apart or throw it away, we will get so hurt that we feel that he has hurt us. So that tells us that our attachment to a person causes us to feel this thing, even though tearing off that picture had nothing to do or that there was no harm done to that girl or the person, yet we get attached and affected by it. Similarly, we do get affected by the body when the body tears out, even though we are not the body, because body is the picture of Atman. We can look at it, body as a picture or the universe as a picture or an image of God. God is real, the image is unreal, and the damage to the image does not hurt the Lord who himself is the original one. So these are some of the ways we can try to imagine, because there are no examples of Atman. We try to give something to lead you towards that, and then of course if we practice what is required of us to practice, we will realize it, because we don't have to worry about just do what we are said. Don't ask how the medicine is going to work in the body, what it does to our different organs. Simply take it and give few days and you will see its effect and your disease will be gone. If you try to ask for how it worked and where it worked and what does it do, you are wasting your time and you will never understand. Even the doctors don't understand. We simply eat. If we eat food, we don't know how it is processed by our body and how it's converted into blood, but we go ahead and eat anyway. Similarly, medicine. Similarly, this medicine that we are giving, Lord is giving us to realize this, our Atman, the disease of ignorance is to be removed. So, if we are really wise, we simply listen to this message and start taking it, consuming it, rather than asking why and when and how it will work and whether it will work. Just consume it, just have faith, practice it, and then let us see whether it has helped or not. I am sure if we practice sincerely and honestly according to the message of the Lord, there is no question the saints are giving us a guarantee. Gita has given us a guarantee that Name Bhakta Pranashyati, my devotee will not perish. All we need to do is to become his devotee. And there are ways and means given to us systematically how we can become a devotee, no matter what our stage is or whatever stage we are at. uh, talking about Atman and these sloks, that the Atman does not die when the body dies. Mirabai has put it so beautifully in just 4 lines that I was wondering if Sri Krishna needed all these sloks to convince Arjun. Must be Arjun must be more intelligent and must have less faith. But look at what Mirabai said. ना कोई मारे ना कोई मरतो तेरो यो अज्ञान चेतन जीव तो अजर अमर है यो गीतारो ज्ञान. In these 4 lines, she has told us what I have been trying to say in several episodes, and Gita has been saying through several sloks, and Upanishads have said so repeatedly in so many Upanishads. She has put only in 4 lines. No wonder we love her, no wonder it is simple and enjoyable, and we don't have to use our intellect. But that doesn't mean because it is simple we will be able to grasp. We are able to grasp because we have gone through the entire process of study year after year, um, life after life, before this simplicity will make any dent in our ego. But what she is saying here is this: there is nobody, na koi mare, na koi marto. Nobody is killing anybody, nor anybody is dying. This is your ignorance. You are looking at only bodies. So this is your ignorance, thinking that somebody is killing somebody, somebody is dead. Chetana Jeev to Ajaramar. This Atman, which is consciousness, what we call Chetan means live. The Chetan Jeev is Ajar. It is indestructible, and Amar, it is immortal. This is your knowledge of Gita. In other words, this is what Gita is teaching us. This is the summary of Gita, that this dying and killing and being killed is only a phenomena of the toys, of the bodies. When the toys die, the mother will say, we can bring another toy. There is no reason to die, but the child is no reason to cry. But the child, being a child and not have discrimination or understanding, he cries when the toy is damaged or destroyed. Similarly, we do the same thing with these bodies. These bodies, we make it as a toy, we play with the bodies, and when they die or damage, then we just cry. So she says that these are like toys. They will get damaged, don't worry about it, let it pass. But you in reality are immortal and indestructible, Ajar Amar. And that is what we are, I mean, she is talking about Atman. And this is the crux of Gita Gyan. If that is what we have to learn, that we are not the body but we are Atman or God, and that is within us, then I think we would have digested the knowledge of Gita. However, this will take several lives and lot of doings and lot of sacrifices to become pure, to have a pure faith, and to understand what we are talking about. वेद विनाशिनम नित्यम य एनम अजम अव्ययम कथम स पुरुष पार्थ कम घातयन्ति हन्तिकम. Then this slok 21, it says, know that this Atman is eternal, as we have often said again, indestructible, changeless, without birth, and immutable. If that is the definition, then how can it be destroyed? So obviously we are not able to understand what is being told to us. And he says that how can somebody like Atman either kill or being killed? All these things we are talking only in a drama or in a dream. In the dream we think everything is real as long as we are in the dream, but when we wake up we find that it was all a dream. However, the effect of dream can be carried out even after we are awakened. If we saw a lion attacking us or something, then I think we'll be breathing fast even after we are awakened. This tells us that we love our body so much that these are the feelings we get of fear and all that. Fear is due to our sense of attachment to body or thinking that we are body and we are not Atman. That is where we have this problem. वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरो अपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. This slok 22 is quite often used, particularly when somebody passes away. I think it has been a tradition, and sometimes we have unfortunately made a ritual out of it. But this slok should certainly be recited at the time of somebody's death. Is telling us something that this we have, this body is like clothes. The clothes can get old, worn out, and so this Atman or Jivatman gives up the old clothes, old age, old body, and then takes another body. Just like we have old car, we junk the car and we get the new car. Similarly, this Atman gets rid of this old body which is worn out, and he just accepts or gets another body. Similarly, all this thing is happening to the Atman and the body. Just like the clothes, so is the body. In other words, body is compared with the clothes. We are not clothes. We have put on the clothes. We identify our clothes. That is a different problem, but certainly we are not clothes. Clothes belongs to us. We are the owner of the clothes. We can bring, use them and throw away, but we remain the same person. Similarly, Atman remains the same, and we just bring the body, mind, and intellect. These are our clothes, underwear, shirts, coat, and sweater, and all these things, several layers, as we had talked about earlier in our discourses, that Atman is covered by those 5 layers of ignorance. I'm sure you remember it was Annamay Kosh, Pranamay Kosh, Manomay Kosh, Vigyanmay Kosh, and Anandamay Kosh. All these coverings of the body, the prana, the mind, the intellect, and deep sleep or a dream sleep or a dreamless sleep. All these things we have already explained, but these are the coverings, and the joy remains within this um, uh, 5 coverings. It's like, as we have said, the onion can be peeled off one by one, and we find what is inside is Atman. Similarly, we are talking about the clothes here. So think of body as a clothes. If it is worn out, uh, if it has got some spots, if it is damaged, I think we know how to either correct it or throw it away, but not think that we are hurt or damaged. It's just like that picture I talked about. A picture being destroyed or hurt does not mean the person is hurt. So this is the slok, very important slok in the Upanishad, is also given in the, I think, in the Katha Upanishad. So we must try to separate ourselves, our identity. One of the biggest problem is our identity. All of us are seeking identity in this world. We create logos. We want to be Bill Gates. We want to identify with him. We want to identify with the president, with some president of the company or some gurus. But unfortunately, all of them are in the same boat as we are. And so, if you identify with a person who himself is suffering, then you are also going to be identifying with suffering. The only identification that is justified and we should go after is to identify ourselves with God or saints. Every other identification is like identifying with sickness or greed or lust, because none in this world except saints are free from this. And why do we want to identify with pain? So these are some of the things that we need to pay attention. I know we are talking about approaching Atman. Uh, we may have some confusion as to what do we do with the abilities God has given. If I have to give up all my wealth for the poor, why should I work? People have asked me that also. Then why should I work if I have to give up and I cannot enjoy? I think these are misconceptions and again selfishness. We are not saying that at all. I think every person, I really believe in free economy or competition. Competition in the sense not that we are superior to others, and this is the thing we want to mark, but that we want to get out the best in us. If each one of us will get out the best in us rather than trying to compare, if a donkey trying to be an elephant, we would have a problem. But if a donkey tries to be the best donkey and does his work, an elephant does his best, then God is very happy with both. and he is considered them both equal. Similarly, whether we are a mediocre person, because that's what we are, we have done our best, and somebody who is little more intelligent made more money, but in eyes of God, if both have done their best, they are equal. God does not look at our achievements as much as our intention, our performance, and our sincerity. So again, I would say that each one of us should produce maximum according to our intelligence, our ability, our training, our expertise. We don't want to make everybody just one breed, because even in the spiritual, even in the physical phenomena, we have animals which are all different, trees are different, countries are different, lands are different. So it is not the difference that's a problem, but if each one perform their task, and so each human being, whatever God has given them the gift, whether singing, dancing, science, computer science, business, political thing, or teaching in the university, or even in religion, if we don't deceive, if we are not corrupt, if we are not after money, but doing the service, doing the things as a service to the Lord, thinking that all the people around are the manifestations of God, and they are, then we have an opportunity to serve them rather than collect money from them and just sit on it. Collecting money and keeping in the bank is not only evil, but it is sin, because that money is required by many people in the world who are poor, they are starving, they need food, clothes, and shelter, and yet we are holding money which we are not using it, the resources. So because of our life, the way we are made out of greed and lust, we are not following the path of joy, we are following path opposite to what God is recommending. So we should reorganize, that we should never hoard money or things we don't need, and that everything that comes to us, except whatever we need, to our basic needs, of course, to keep healthy and cheerful. And if you can do with a Chevrolet, you don't need to buy a Lexus, if that is really the case. And you can imagine how much money you can save and help the poor who may not have even food. Some widow who may have children that she needs to educate. She may be given some sewing machine or some equipment to help. And imagine the blessing that God will give to you through her. And yet we spend $100 in pizza but never think about that we will get the blessing if we help the poor. And then when we help, we talk so much about it that again we inflate our ego rather than humility. The purpose of helping others is to be humble. So again we have to do it secretly and lovingly and as if we are not obliging anybody. A father helping the son is not obliging, it is his duty. Similarly, if we help the poor, they are all belonging to us and we are not obliging anybody. It is our obligation as a human being. God has given us that feeling of love, compassion for our fellow men. So, main thing is that we should produce all we can. If it is limitless, that is fine, provided whatever you produce is for the good of the world and not for hoarding or pumping your ego or taking a ego trip. That is doesn't mean anything, and we will be very sorry and regret at the end of life that we did not make good use of the ability that God has given us. Again, as I say, dancing, music, or science, or any other art that God has given us, it is for the use of those who are less fortunate, and it is not for making money from the other people. That is only a secondary thing, and even if we make it by grace of God, it is to be returned immediately. That means helping the poor. So, anytime we hoard, we have corrected our ego, and that does not help us to understand what we are talking about. I am showing the ways that to realize Atman, we will have to restructure our life and our civilization and what we have been taught, and we should change the direction according to the spiritual laws if we really want to be happy and realize our bliss and peace within. Today we have a lot of problems even due to religion. We don't understand God, and that is why this terrorism is going on. The religious leaders are fundamentally the terrorists because they teach things that create terrorists, and therefore they are responsible for not taking the lead in practicing what we are talking about. That if they have the knowledge, they must be honest, sincere, and teach the followers that we don't need to convert others. We don't need to feel that we are superior or our God is better than other God because there is only one God. But like the blind leading the blind, ignorant leading the ignorant, we don't want to come to the crux that we stop converting other people. We want everybody to know about nice points and nice religion and our prophet, but we never want to admit that this something that whoever has got injected in our religion about converting people to our own beliefs is the biggest terrorism that we have created, and unless we come to understanding that we must give up this feeling that everybody has to belong to my religion or my God, this terrorism, no matter how much money we spend and how many police we have and bombs we have, is not going to be over because the root of the terrorism we are not interested in removing. Every religion has openly saying the interpretation that we have to convert everybody whether by force or by money or by understanding or by hook or crook, that is the goal of the religion, that it's the biggest terrorism we have created. And if the religious leaders don't realize it, I am sure God is going to brand them the first terrorists, and they will be answerable why they did not teach the right thing that could have prevented terrorism in the first place. The lust and ego and pride is the biggest cause of terrorism. We want ourselves to be important. We want to be worshipped. We want to be important. We want to be head. I am better than others. These feelings have caused terrorism. And if we today, as we look at these problems of the world, and throughout the world we have problems, we are not trying to say one person or one religion or one country. This is throughout it because ignorance is as all pervading as knowledge. But the real knowledge is not being given in the universities or even in the temples or in the ashrams. Somehow we end up into business. Somehow we end up into shopkeeping, as Swami Vivekananda said. The religion has become shopkeeping, that we are shopkeepers. We just want our own name and we are wanting to make money and want to become famous. More followers, more money, more temples, and more pride so that I am worshipped either by gold or diamonds or whatever we are looking for. And this has happened through centuries, ever since the world started. And yet nobody is looking into it that we should correct it. I personally feel that if we want to realize the teaching of Gita, we want to realize Atman, we will have to follow the saints like Mirabai and Buddha and Mahavir, who had given up the kingdom. They did not build the kingdom like we are building in a foolish way. They had the kingdom and they realized this is the biggest obstacle, our ego, pride, and comforts. So, to realize then Atman, we will have to follow these principles of helping other people, that our life is for sacrifice. Animals sacrifice others. But in case of human beings, we have to sacrifice ourselves for others. The minute we sacrifice others for our comfort, we are worse than animals and we will be answerable. So I think that the beautiful thing about Gita is that these are the principles teaching us, and I think sooner we heed to these principles, spiritual principles of all scriptures, I think soon we will be finding more peace and happy rather than this fear and uncertainty in life that we have created. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.